I'll start things off with the fundamentals, showing you how to make gingerbread cutout cookies. This is a basic rolled cookie dough. So I have to start with butter, half a cup, and I find it tidier and easier to measure by weighing. So half a cup of softened butter is also 4 ounces by weight. 4 ounces on the nose. Get this on the mixer. Now, for the sweetness, I start with 3/4 of a cup of dark brown sugar. It's nice and moist. To call a gingerbread, it has to have 2 elements in common. That's a fragrant blend of spices and the use of molasses. When I bake desserts with molasses, I use fancy molasses. This is mild in taste and has a gentle sweetness. The acidity within it activates the baking powder and baking soda. So before I measure my molasses into the cup, and it's a half cup measure, a little tip is to actually rub your measuring cup with a little vegetable oil. This will allow the molasses to slip out easily. And I'll add that in with the butter and sugar. And with the paddle, beat this until it's light and fluffy. I love that caramel fragrance that molasses has. Even just beating it with the butter, the fragrance comes through. And really, gingerbread is all about the fragrance. I'll add my eggs one at a time while I'm mixing the dough. There we go. The 2 eggs are nicely blended. And now for the dry ingredients. Use all-purpose flour, 3 1/4 cups. Then I need to measure baking powder and baking soda, just to give the cookies a little bit of lift. Half a teaspoon each, and as well, half a teaspoon of salt. And now for that fragrant blend of spices. This is an Indian spice dab, or daba. I use it to hold all my baking spices because it keeps them airtight and distinct. So I'll start with the ginger, of course. So a full tablespoon of ground ginger. Since I want ginger to be the lead flavor in the spice blend, I just have half a teaspoon of cinnamon and half a teaspoon of allspice. I'll give this a sift. It's to lighten the flour, but also to start integrating the spices evenly into the flour. I add this all at once, and I simply mix it until the dough comes together. And there we go. It's almost paste-like, it's so soft, so I have to chill it down before I can roll out the cookies. I'll shape it into 2 discs. All right, these are ready for the fridge. You want to let the dough chill for at least an hour to set up the butter. I have a batch that has already chilled. Even after setting, it still is rather soft and pliable. So a little bit of flour on your work surface, a little bit on the dough itself. As I roll, I rotate the dough just to make sure it's not sticking. Now, a little bit of pulling away of the dough is to be expected. And you just pinch it together and keep rolling. And I roll the dough to less than 1/4 inch thick. There we go. And now for the cutouts. Got a parchment-lined baking tray. You can cut out whatever shape you wish. I'm gonna do a combination of nice diamonds as well as a fluted round. This recipe makes about 4 dozen cookies. And you can see how easily they cut and lift. They're not overly delicate. After I finish this tray of diamonds, I'll do a full tray of the fluted circles. Something I particularly like about this gingerbread cookie recipe is how the dough re-rolls so nicely, so you can use every little bit. So I've got my full tray of the fluted rounds, a full tray of the diamonds, and these take 15 to 18 minutes in a 350 oven, which I've already preheated. There we go. Beautiful. I like to let my gingerbread cookies cool completely on the tray before I lift or do anything with them. And I think for these, just a simple dusting of icing sugar is all they need. Just a light little dusting. Alongside a cup of coffee or tea, this crispy yet tender little cookie is just an absolute treat.